For the past 2 months, I have been obsessed with oil pastels. So I'm going to break down the basics of how I use soft oil pastels. Emphasis on soft because these are different. This is the brand I use. I'll also have it added in the description, but it is 48 beautiful colors. I mean, look at these. When I get started, I want to clean the oil pastels before I start using them because I don't want any other colors to accidentally get on my drawings. So, to do this, it's very simple. You can just have a plain piece of paper and you can easily just drag them across the paper. Literally, just draw on them. But now, warning, your hands will get rainbowed as you work, so it's nice to have a paper towel or something to wipe it off. When you draw, pressure determines the color that comes out. The more pressure you use, the smoother and more vibrant your color becomes. You can see on the light side, you can still see the paper, but on the other side, where you use more pressure, it is very dark in color. Now, once you want to blend colors, you can actually go about this in a few different ways. You can color directly over the other color until it blends. Again, this is when you'll have some cross contamination. You'll get some pink on the red, some red on the pink, but it works out. You can easily clean that off. Or you could actually smudge it by using your finger. Yes, it gets on your finger. Yes, it gets messy, but you can get a very smooth blend if you use your finger. And with oil pastels, they don't really dry, so you can do this at many stages throughout your drawing, even on a different day. And there are other ways to blend, of course, but these are some of the fastest. However, I actually use Q-tips. If you didn't know, I primarily use color theory, which is sort of my thing. It's an art term that describes color choices based off the color wheel. This can also help you get colors that you're missing. Two main types of color relationships are analogous colors, which are colors that are next to each other and appear similar, as well as complementary colors, which are across from each other and are stark in contrast. So that'll be blue and orange, green and red, and yellow and purple. While complementary colors are high contrast, they also can blend really well together. So let's use purple and yellow as an example. You can see here, yellow and purple, they are widely different. But you can layer these colors. Let's say if we start with purple, then color over with yellow, then the purple becomes slightly muted but looks like a darker form of yellow. Again, this is just with some blending and quick layers. You can always add more yellow or more purple if you want to make it darker or lighter. Similarly, if you use analogous colors, when I start with purple and color over in red, which red is similar to purple, then the purple becomes a darker version of red. You can also use this in shading for dimension. It gives a different appearance than just a dark red, so it's really nice to use a mix of these colors. And this also works reversed. If you start with red, you can color over in purple, and the red transforms to a different color of purple. But back to general oil pastel use. One pastel can give you different shades and textures depending on how much pressure you use. You can use light pressure and you get a lighter color, but you can also see some of the white paper, whereas when you color with a lot of pressure, it is a lot smoother and you don't really see the paper that much. Depending on the color that you want, it determines the pressure you'll use. But be careful with your pressure because you can end up snapping the oil pastel, and this makes it a lot more difficult to use and work with, and it's just very frustrating. The pastel's wrapping actually holds it in place and it helps balance out the pressure, but as you use it, you'll tear off the paper, making it easier for the pastel to snap when you press too much. You can still use the nubs, but the other colors transfer from your fingers onto the pastel, so it ends up getting rainbowed and then the color just isn't what you want. Now, the white oil pastel is very important, but so is the amount of white space that you leave. Soft oil pastels can color over each other and still have its color, but lots of times it drags other colors into it, so saving white space helps for brighter whites. If I draw a sphere and I want to highlight in the top right, I try to leave some white space and then add white over it because it makes it appear lighter versus if I don't. So here, as I'm coloring around the sphere, I'm trying to leave a circle of pure paper. It's a lot easier to have that pure white come out if you leave some space for it. Now, I'm still using the nub and it is so annoying to use this, but it still works, it's fine. But as you can see here, when I'm adding back the white, you really do see that crisp white in the top reflection. But if I want to do the sphere and use white over top the blue, I can still do that. But as you see here, you color over, you get the white, you get it lighter, but it isn't that crisp white like the sphere above. One of my favorite color combinations for light and dark sides is to use dark blue for shadows and yellow for highlights. If I'm coloring green, I can use blue as the dark side, yellow for the light, and blend both together with green, adding more layers of blue and yellow for more contrast. Or you can bypass the green and just color blue and yellow into each other and create your own gradient. This is what I end up using mostly for trees, for leaves, for literally anything green, especially for tree trunks. Using the blue and the yellow is amazing. But you can also add in some red as a base layer for another style of gradient since it's green's complementary color. Let me point out again that pastels will get on your hands, so watch out for your clothing, watch out for anything you touch. Getting into black, okay, so I don't really use black that much. Artists don't necessarily because they try to avoid it for shadows, but black pastel is so pretty. So let's do a little exercise for blending light using black. Yes, it's a lot easier, in my opinion, to blend other colors into black with oil pastel. So I'm gonna draw a light bulb. Again, this part isn't really important. I'm just drawing what sort of looks like a light bulb. The main important part is blending. As you can see, I'm using different yellows and oranges for the light. But now the blending. I am drawing on top of the black, on top of the outline of where the colors meet, and then I'm gonna go in with my finger and drag it around. Just gonna blend it, simple in a circle, and it actually becomes a slight halo effect. Now, instead of using your fingers and getting them like charcoal, you can actually go in and use a Q-tip, which works the same but has a little more accuracy and direction. Now, another option for blending could be paper towels, but it's harder to tell where you're blending, plus I don't really like it as much, so you'll see me using my finger or Q-tips. A great feature of soft oil pastels, again, I am using soft oil pastels. They're very different from just the other ones, but a very great feature is that you can keep changing the colors and adding layers. Here's a basic bubble with a bunch of random colors. Unimportant the colors that I use, but just a blend of random colors. Now, I'm blending them all together and lots of them don't really go well, but the point is that I can always add more layers on top of them. Instead of green, I can put orange. Instead of orange, I can put blue. I can literally put any other colors on here and I will still be able to blend, still be able to layer. So you can always change your mind about colors. And they stay smooth to blend even after a while, even tomorrow, even next week. You can always change your mind and change these drawings. To go back to color theory for a second, oil pastels work great with changing how you color. Not just changing, but advancing. If you apply color theory to this, which color theory can apply to literally every other medium, then you can get a lot of variations in the way that you draw. For example, let's draw a tomato. You can start by using a dark red and a light red for some dimension, maybe even add a little orange for a highlight, and then add the green stem. That's an easy way to draw it. Or you could change it up. You could use red's analogous color, purple, and use that as a base. Once you put that down, color over in red, and you'll see that the purple is now a darker red. You can still add the same green stem, but both of these tomatoes look different. But why not change it up even more and go the complementary way? You can start with green as the base and then color red on top of it. If you choose to do the same green stem, then you have 3 different versions of red tomatoes. They don't all start with red, they start with purple, they start with green, but they all end up looking like tomatoes. Overall, coloring with oil pastels is fairly simple. It's almost like coloring with adult crayons. Just practice your pressure and your blending and elevate your art by using color theory. That's what I did for these drawings. They can be done by using everything you learned in this video. Let me know if you want me to explain any other topics, but good luck with your art and thanks for watching.